Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of House of the Dragon, episode 9, The Green Council. So, this is finally the penultimate episode of this crazy season of the show. I've been so impressed by the show, and that just continues here. And what's very interesting about this episode is it leans all into Allison's story, all into the High Towers, and it's very cool as a setup episode for the big finale because you don't really see at all Rhaenyra or Daemon. They're talked about here, but they're definitely saving that side of this impending war for the big finale. I love that we jump in right where we left off from last week, right after King Viserys is dead. And what's crazy about this happening is immediately it adds tension. It makes things exciting here because there needs to be the decision now made by Alicent and Otto. Who's going to be on the throne here? Are they going to put the rightful heir in Rhaenyra? Or is Alicent just going to take her misinterpretation of what King Viserys says about it being Aegon and just rolling with that, and that will shake everything up? And it's so fascinating with Alicent's choice here because she really truly does believe that Viserys meant it to be Aegon that he was saying there in his dying wish. But there is doubt there in her that she doesn't want to actually see, and because it still kind of goes in her favor of it being Aegon and not Rhaenyra. But you see how intense this emergency meeting is, and that Otto's like, we got to get rid of everybody who has ties to Daemon. And you see there is this resistance, though, by Alicent, knowing that Otto wants to get rid of Rhaenyra and Daemon and have them killed, but she does not want that. And she also knows her husband, the king, would not want Rhaenyra killed anyway, and that Rhaenyra and her had a nice ending there in their last meeting, so especially she wouldn't want this to happen now. But this is where you see Lord Beesbury is like, I am not doing this, and accuses Allison of treason here, having Aegon be the one to take the throne. And this is where we see Psycho Kristen is back, and he literally slams Beesbury into the marble check-in thing they used there. Literally brutal. And what was great about this scene was while he's bleeding out and dying, they kept him there because I was like, hold on, we're not opening that door till we'll finish with this crazy meeting. And you see Westerly has more honor than that and will not do what Otto wants him to do, and is like, I only serve the king. So this is where we see Otto and Alicent have two different opinions of what to go and how to handle having Aegon become the king. And Alicent wants to do it in a more open, clean way where it's announced, and that she wants peace with Rhaenyra and she wants to offer peace to Rhaenyra and be straight up with her. Where Otto is actually doing, again, the more smarter approach, which would be to just have Rhaenyra and Daemon killed and then have Aegon become the heir. And so we'll have less resistance from Rhaenyra in this threat of having this challenger out there. So Otto wants to grab Aegon without telling the queen, and the queen finds out about this through Kristen and then wants to take Aegon herself so she could do it the clean way with Aegon, have this big ceremony instead of this sneaky way that Otto wants to do it. I love during all this, though, that we hear this little remix of Alicent's theme from Raman Dawadi, who is the GOAT. But this is where you see it's divided into two groups, where for Team Alicent, you have Kristen and Aemond going to look for Aegon, and for Otto, you have Eric and his twin brother. But you see Otto's telling these other houses they have to bend the knee and declare their loyalty to Aegon, or you can't leave right now until you make clear what you want. And this is where one of the lords pretends to bend the knee, and then he's planning to escape and go tell Rhaenyra what's happening. But this is where Lars comes into play, sees that, and has him killed. And I love later on you see the guy is just hanging for everybody to see. But you see how many of them broke their oath just out of fear of what would happen to them. Now, what's really disturbing is we see Eric and his twin brother see the most messed up version of cockfighting, but instead of cocks, we got kids here. And with these kids, they grow their nails, they say, file their teeth to fight each other. It's just horrible. And we also learn this is where Aegon's been putting some of his offspring to fight in these kid fights. Now, this will be important later on with the White Worm, which we're going to get to. But you see, with Aemond and Kristen's side, Aemond is telling Kristen, like, why isn't it me being the one on the throne? He's almost hoping not to find Aegon here. He thinks he's more qualified, which he definitely is. He has a bigger dragon. He can fight with a sword really well. He's smarter. So you see that conflict within Aemond is being set up as well. But the most important scene that sets up the big ending with this episode is Alicent's talk with Rhaenys. It's a great move by Alicent playing the game and recruiting Rhaenys, because Rhaenys, you're really recruiting her for her dragon, which we'll see later on. But she smartly pulls on Rhaenys' heartstrings, mentions how her alliance with Rhaenyra has really, for House Valerian and herself, done nothing and only caused her pain. But this is where you see Alicent's like, we do not rule, but we guide the men that do. But this is where Rhaenys calls her out. It's like, but you still also, because of this, do all your service to men, your whole life, father, your husband, and now your son. And she has this great line. She's like, you make a window in the wall of your own prison. And she says, have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne? What's also important, though, is while Rhaenys is actually putting a shift into Alicent, this is long-term therapy Alicent's going to need to hear. It's baby steps for Alicent to really what she should be doing instead of, again, her whole life just servicing men. But it is already planting seeds in Alicent that will change and show her putting her foot down against her father, which Rhaenys will see and like. And also important was Alicent saying to Rhaenys she should have been queen, and she can admit that even though she was married to the king. So Alicent, again, just saying all the right things to Rhaenys. Rhaenys likes to hear that, but Rhaenys likes to see Alicent made a change and that her words had affected Alicent in a way. So we see Otto in his Obi-Wan disguise talking to the White Worm, who he's learning now is Mysaria. So he didn't know that. So when he got the information from the White Worm about what happened with Daemon and Rhaenyra way early on, he did not know that was actually Mysaria giving that information. And he's like, where is the prince? She says he's safely tucked away. So we see that when Mysaria's got information last episode was happening in King's Landing that she took Aegon. What Mysaria wants, though, is the end of the kid fighting we saw. And she says, I want you to remember, basically, when your grandson is on the throne, I could have killed him. This is her move to Otto. This is the deal they're making. Otto's giving her money, but she wants this kid fighting to stop and Otto to keep his word. And you see that Mysaria, from her background we saw, had been sold before as a human, and she has good intentions now to end this stuff going on that King's Landing, the Crown, turns a blind eye to. Now, I'm going to give this episode a very high rating, which you'll see at the end. But when people go, where's that missing point? It's actually going to go to, which haven't said yet, but now I can officially confirm that I'm not a big fan of the actress who plays Mysaria here, and I think she's hamming it up and is literally, to me, the only performance of this whole show I have not enjoyed. And this isn't surprising. I'm not trying to be mean to the actress. I'm trying to say it professionally, but I didn't like her performance in the show Devs, which she was lead as well. If you see my reviews for that, I've been saying this in the start. That continues here, which is disappointing. So I always give an actress or actor in my eyes another chance when they're a new project, but I think she really does not do a good job here. It really brought down this scene for me. It is just over the top and makes it almost silly. So we see that she had Aegon hiding right under everyone's noses in this religious room, and this is now Eric going to take Aegon, but you see Eric's twin brother hesitates and gets cold feet, which will have payoff later on. But Criston and Aemond follow them this whole time. This is where Alicent's going to get her win here. But what's interesting about this scene is that Aemond looks Aegon in the face. Aegon says to Aemond eye to eye, just let me go. Like, let me just leave and I'll never come back again. But this is problematic because it's too late for Aemond to make this call, he knows, because he's going to have to fight Criston if he wants to let his brother go here. And that's not worth the risk for him at all. I don't think he likes Aegon enough as a brother who has tormented him his whole life to give him that mercy. But he would prefer it because he wants to be king himself. But again, he would have to fight Criston and shake things up. So it's just too quick of a move. But you see he does think about it. And I think there's still a little brotherly guilt there, even for Aemond. But we see this important scene that was set up from Rhaenys planting a seed in Allison to be more assertive and not take orders from any men, including her father all the time. And it's just like, reluctance to murder is not a weakness, talking about killing Rhaenyra. And she even goes so far to say she will honor House Targaryen, give a sign of wanting peace with them by giving Aegon the black fire sword and wearing, in honor of Aegon the Conqueror, the look of the Targaryens. And this was Aegon the Conqueror's sword. And Otto's like, is this you saying this for your dead husband that he didn't want Rhaenyra killed? Or basically, is this Alicent, the friend, childhood companion of Rhaenyra, talking? Because remember, they made a little more peace. There's always been a little love between the two of them from the start and having this tragic conflict between them. But that looking out for each other is slowly coming back. So it was so important for Alicent to stand up to Otto here too and not go his route to gain the respect of Rhaenys and get Rhaenys over to them. And it's so important, like she says, for Rhaenys' dragon to have, because that gives the chance of evening the tilt a bit with dragons and getting Rhaenyra to consider peace instead of all-out war. So one of the more shocking scenes happens here with Larys, where we really learn his intentions. And they're creepy because he's exchanging intel and tasks for Allison, it's revealed, for feet. And what's interesting about this is that his foot fetish, this happening, this kind of exchange, isn't the first time, because Alicent knows what he wants and keeps escalating it as he gives her more information. What's extra creepy about this is you're thinking about when Loras first approached Alicent when she was a kid, so he was already planting his stake into her feet. So this is the big reveal here of Loras' character and his wants. But he informs her about all the spies that are happening here, this spider web with Mysaria leading that, and that they know everything that's happening, but that also Otto, her father, knows about it, keeps it going because it's used an advantage for him, and that's the advantage he had on her finding Aegon first. So she gives the go-ahead to Lars to kill the head of the web, which is Mysaria, we know. So, and that is clearly shown that she gives the go-ahead by showing her feet again at the end. Now, we also see before this big ceremony day, Allison gives Aegon the cat's paw dagger. This is the biggest moment of love Alicent we have seen has ever shown Aegon. And I think this is what fully gave Aegon confidence for once, where she's had that oversight, where she hasn't given him any confidence. And she has a lot of Otto in her and how she treats Aegon and wants him to fulfill her needs. So there is finally a moment she kind of gives him some encouragement by giving him this dagger. And she reminds him, don't listen to your grandfather, about killing Rhaenyra. Listen to me and don't do that. She is your sister, she says. So we get to see this grand announcement of Aegon becoming king with the Allison theme coming, which I liked. And he's embracing it. He embraces this moment here. And it's this encouragement he got from Allison he's never had, and belief in him. And this moment is happening. Rhaenys sees this. She sees Alicent actually is a good queen and is sticking up for himself to Otto, not killing Rhaenyra and doing something vile, wanting Rhaenys' respect and trust. And we get this tease because at first she thinks it's Caraxes coming through, or at least I did, because it was a red dragon and that Daemon was showing up, but it was actually Meraxes, who is Rhaenys' dragon. We get to see Rhaenys on the dragon, and you think maybe she's gonna kill everybody, but she kind of just like, okay, I see you, Allison, I got your back, and leaves with the dragon. So this is huge. She got Rhaenys on her side now, and this is gonna be more of her look to Rhaenyra when she offers peace, like, hey, we have a lot of dragons too, so let's do this my way. Aegon's gonna be king, but I'm offering peace. And she wants Rhaenyra to bend the knee. So we know that's not going to work. I mean, come on now. But it's so exciting to see what's going to happen here. What a setup episode. I'm giving it a 9.9. Favorite episode of the season. It just keeps getting better and better, this show. This blew me away for a setup. We got the whole time with Allison, Team Green, and I'm sure it's going to shift to Team Black now, and Rhaenyra and Daemon's reaction to all this next episode. How exciting is that for finale? I'm nerding out here. I got nerd chills when that dragon came through here. I'm so excited, and shout out, just an amazing performance by Olivia Cooke here. She's amazing too with her facial acting. She says a lot on her face without saying a word, so props to her, and obviously props to Otto here. Amazing. So I'm excited to see how the reaction is going to be of Team Black next episode. But let me know your thoughts down below. I love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. Please subscribe. It helps me in so many ways you have no idea. This is a very competitive show to cover. I'm dripping sweat in this costume, so any support to get a tip, a like, anything to share would mean so much. I appreciate all you guys. Follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for more of me, and we'll see you next time.